Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Kick. Hello, Twitch. Hello, YouTube. One of those days. Not a bad day, just a tiring day. Alright, let's get these chat boxes all hooked up. Okay. Let's get into it. Whew. We'll just keep the Ronin set. It looks cool. All right. So we're going to keep pushing down. So if you weren't here yesterday, we switched to the Forgotten Knight set, which actually was pretty nice. Now I'm considering dropping the shield in favor of just something with more defensiveness. Because it does give chance to inflict time rot, you know, because the sword does not give you a chance to inflict time rot. What's the max range? Looks like it has no range. It's just 15% attack and cast speed. This is actually a pretty well-rolled sword. So I didn't expect it to be that good. It was enough for me not to immediately switch back to what I was using. So let's switch back to lunge. I think the biggest thing we're gonna have to figure out is health. Oh shit. Oh shit. Freaking Elder Panion. We gotta get rid of this. Enemies take 25% less damage. It's a bit of a buzzkill. What's my block? My block chance is 43%. That's not the best. Armor, 69% damage reduction. Nice. What's my endurance threshold? I don't know. Endurance threshold 649, so we got to figure out how to pump that up. Because what's going to happen is that endurance isn't going to kick in until I'm on the last 600 of my health. By that point, I can get it. I can get one shot. Hey, what up, Demon Slayer? How you doing? Nice build, but Paladin need more critical. It's a DoT build, my friend. We're doing damage over time. Yes, we are doing some on-hit effects, but most of our damage is coming from dots. I actually have criticals disabled on this build. Now, you can play this with crit. You can most certainly set this up with crit. How you doing today, Demon Slayer? Nice. Interesting. Okay, so what if we... I don't know where we would stash these affixes, but because we could use something like a Vessel of Strife. Could use something like Vessel of Strife. What's our health regen? Okay, we got healing effectiveness, but what about health regen? Health gain on hit, health gain on melee hit, health gain on kill, health gain on block. Damage leeches health. Melee damage leeches health 7%. Okay. Okay, this would be the first boss I've fought with the Forgotten Knights set. So far, we've just been melting everything. Because, like, at first the damage is kind of low, and then it ramps up super fast. Probably because we're inflicting Time Rot, and with the way we have it set up, we pin 97%.
pace, this despair, oblivion burns within me. This world earns me. Do you deny it? My shadow will cover this world. My vengeance will be paid. This hates, this despair, oblivion burns within me. This world earned its ruin. Do you deny it? My shadow will cover this world once more. Pathetic. Do you think my defeat changes anything? This world is
Okay, so we could gain a chance to ignite. Honestly, Shred Void Resistance is gonna be better. Not too bad. Not too shabby. Oh, the Pebble set? No. Pick up those potions. Pebble set again. Let's go further out that way. Ah, why do you have to be on a wall, man? Walls and hammer builds, man. Headache. Whoa, what the? Do they have a section on Time Rot over here? Probably not, because Time Rot's not a very common... Time Rot is not a very common ailment, so we don't get any information on Time Rot. I wish it would tell me what my health per second is, unless it's here and I'm just... Oh, it is here. There we go. So our health per second is 24. That's terrible. We're regenning 13 mana per second. Yeah, this is terrible. Health regen. Okay, so we can pick up health regen there. What about... increase healing effectiveness and health. Increase damage, healing, attunement, mana regen. I mean, I guess if we're absolutely strapped, but...
Stand down or die.
Okay. Pretty sure I'm not going to be using that. Honestly, I don't know how effective the flat throwing damage is. Because we are kind of missed, like... Okay, so... let's put this stuff right there. You serious? Okay. Actually, that's not a half bad one. Let me take that. Okay, let's get rolling. I was just checking up on something. Jeez. How many times in a row am I going to get stunned? Gotta love it. Okay, so since we already have a chance to apply Time Rot from the Forgotten Knight set, okay, so wait. No, I don't know. That could be good in Pair of the Week. Because that's a damage increase. Because right here, Nether coating also grants you a chance to inflict time rot, but we got time rot from the Forgotten Knight set, so we could take these 3 points away and put them somewhere else. Right? No longer chains. We don't want that. Echo cast, deal more damage. That's okay. Chance to shred armor. This could be interesting since we're still doing on-hit damage with Smite. We have Singularity here for more on-hit damage, but we can't do critical strikes. Though, we could set it up for crit. What kind of investment are we going to have to put in? Because we could drop Devouring Orb, pick up Anomaly, do the time bubble for a little bit of a crit chance there. I do think we need to alter Hammer Throw just a tiny bit. Crit Holy Aura. That would work if we were playing Paladin, but we're playing Void Knight. That's if I want to go down the crit path. So far, I feel like the damage is pretty smooth. Because what it's going to come down to, Jason, is going to come down to what am I willing to give up to fit more crit into the build? Because right now... Oh, no, Jason, you're fine. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. No worries. No worries at all. Because, like, right now, I would have to give up a prefix. I would have to give up throwing damage or throwing attack speed. Okay, what I could do is I could look for throwing damage, throwing attack speed rings, try and seal, like, the throwing damage, and then put critical strike there. And then have throwing attack. That could be another way we gain some crit, because I'm not going to be able to... I think the only crit idols are the Ligonian ones. Because what I could do is take some hits out of conflict... You know, take 3 out of Blinding Flash, 2 out of Conflagration. That will reduce our overall damage. But pump up Conviction to 5, which will be a 10% base. We get a 3% base plus 15% critical strike chance from Locket of the Forgotten Knight. And then if we use Anomaly, right, we'll have to have Anomaly active for this to work. But we'll get up to 150% increased critical strike chance. I'm not giving up the helmet, but if I did, I could take... I guess I could take something like a Prismatic Gaze because it has base crit. Yeah, that's no worries, Jason. Yeah, not sure. I would agree with Demon on the crit thing because even if you added decent crit, not sure you could scale the multi versus scaling the damage over time. Right. So right now the crit would simply be additive. It would just be additive damage. What we could get from like having like, I don't know, 50% crit chance, because like right now the only things that would be doing crit are the hammer throws, which their damage is very low because all the hammer throw is doing is delivering our dots. We're not really scaling the damage of hammer throw that much. They just deliver the dots to the enemies. We have 3 forms of dot. They're all void damage over time, right? So we have disintegrating aura, which is a damage over time ability. They scale with void damage, damage over time, or throw and attack damage, right? That's cool. We also have Doom from the ring. We have a 22% chance to apply Doom. That stacks up to 4 times, but does 400 damage over time per tick, and it scales with void and damage over time effects. And then we have Time Rot, which has been our biggest. Well, I don't know about our biggest. I think our biggest is still disintegrating aura, but Time Rot deals a lot. I think because with this set, we have such a huge amount of Void Rot with Time Rot. Okay, but let's go with what Demon Slayer suggested and what you suggested as well, Jason. Let's try out crit. We're going to take 2 points from there, and we're going to take 3 points from there. Now we got to go level up the ability, but oh well. And I think what I'm going to want to do, I'm going to remove 1 point there, so our hammer throw is now going to cost 9. That sucks, but that's okay. That way I can gain some extra projectiles, and it'll add more mana. We'll see if we can support it. If not, we could take it off and put it back into a ballista. And we don't really need anything right here, so we can just leave that off for now. So, and let's despecialize Devouring Orb, and let's pick up Anomaly. We're going to throw on Anomaly, 1 point on Time Bubble. So now we got that, and now we got a bit more of a crit chance. Now let's go back. So we're going to go back and we're going to respec 1 point. I wonder if we should just, I mean, a 2% block chance. I mean, block chance is block chance. So where can we spare 1 point? Honestly, we need the mana in the mana regen. We have Void Flux. Honestly, I don't know if I've seen this thing actually save me, but I'm going to leave it there just because. So we can take 1 point. Okay. We'll give up the spell Void damage. And we're going to put 1 point into Void Corruption for more crit multi. Right? Now let's go level up our abilities. And we'll try kind of a mix of crit and damage over time. I don't want to invest too much into the crit, but if it's enough of an additive damage to overcome the benefit we get from Singularity, then so be it. Okay, definitely felt like we're doing less, but we haven't leveled anything up yet, so... Okay, let's put 1 point into that. Okay, our cost goes up to 11. We might be able to swing it. Let's put all... So we're going to have 1 more point to invest there. 2 points in that. 1 point in that. 1 point in manipulation. We're going to want 1 point in immediacy. And we'll probably just take lingering memory. So this is going to give us a greater attack speed. By giving up Devouring Orb, though, we are giving up that 20% more damage multiplier while it's active. Okay. You know what? Let's go fight the boss. Like, we did really decent damage against the boss with the non-crit setup. We know the non-crit setup works.
My shadow will cover this world once more.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to support the... We're not going to be able to support the mana cost, though, with the way we have Hammer set up.
My vengeance will be paid in ash. This hates, this despair, oblivion burns within me. This world earned its room. Do you deny it? My shadow will cover this world once more. Ha, that's it.
Stand down or die.
My vengeance will be paid in ash. This hates, this despair, oblivion burns within me.
I mean, the main problem is we just don't have the mana.
This world earned its ruin. Do you deny it? My shadow will cover this world once more. That's it.
How much does this cost? 20? Not too bad.
This hates, this despair, oblivion burns within me. It's all dead.
Okay, well, let's try a couple... Let's try a couple echoes. Sure, I'll take it. Okay. So then you activate... Well, this isn't going to be a true telling. Sustain is rough, and yeah, we're running out of mana real quick. Like, we weren't really running out of mana underneath the old way. What I might just end up doing, though... You know, let's give this crit its fair shake. Alright? I don't think we can support the extra projectiles. We're going to have to go back to 4 points in Ballista. I know it sucks. I really want that, but we put it here. Our mana cost will go from 11 down to 8, which doesn't sound like a huge amount, but it kind of is. I mean, yeah, they were melting, but they were melting with the previous setup too. Let's just take that, and then let's take that, and let's give this. So, like, yeah, like we have crit now, but we also gave up several sources of just flat, like, percentage damage, like that was multiplicative. We gave up the singularity bonuses. We gave up the bonuses from here. Now the next thing would be trying to figure out a way to add crit to this ring. I mean, this ring's already locked in. The only way I could add crit to this is if I get a 4 LP and get a similar ring. We could try and roll for a different pair of gloves, but then I lose throw-in attack speed, and that's our main delivery of damage. I could also just give up on the Forgotten Knight set. If we're going crit, I could give up on the Forgotten Knight set, but then the build loses its identity. It's DoT hammers, not hammer smite. I've already done Void Knight hammer smite before. It's fine. It's whatever. I wanted to do hammer DoT with Void Knight with a void theme. Let's just keep playing it. Let's just keep playing it. I'm not going to render my judgment after one boss fight and 2 echoes. Right. Yeah, the damage is a little bit more up front. Whereas, like, obviously the damage ramped up before. Like, the damage would always be really low up front. Right, yeah. So, like, the damage is more up front, but I think overall... I mean, everything seems to be melting around the same... I mean, it seems to be... We seem to be probably getting around the same consistency. Because now we're getting bonuses from crits. Because the crits aren't like, oh my god, I get a crit every once in a while. The crits are fairly common. It's not a 100% crit chance, but... we're just not critting for a lot because we're all set up for that DoT. The sustain? Yeah, because what was happening before... what was happening before is like... I would hit enemies and there would be like a 2 to 2 second sort of like almost delay, and then the damage would just spike through the roof because all the dots started taking hold. Whereas with this setup, the crits kind of carry it at first and then it spikes up. I don't think it's spiking up as high as it was, but it's getting into a nice consistent state. So it's like we took the same amount of damage we had before and kind of moved it around, if that makes sense. Because because it looks like everything's still kind of melting at around the same speed. Because we're doing more damage up front, but less damage over time. which is kind of working out to the same. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I got you. And we're not really running into mana issues that we were before. And as you pointed out, the health is coming back faster. Probably because we're actually hitting crits, which is a lot more... which is a bit more spiky in terms of health regen, health leech. Oh, okay, I'll take that. Oh, shit. I got hit by like 3 stuns in a row. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate indeed. Actually, since we're already set up this way, let's go to the arena and practice against the dummies. I mean, obviously this is not going to be conducive to real-world tests, but... Okay. Okay. So the moment the hammers despawn, the damage does drop significantly. Yeah, that time rod drops off fast. Okay. Oh, okay, and then we can test against a single dummy. Then we could test against a big group. Okay. Okay. All right, well, let's go back to the monoliths. So I saw some what looked to be 80k ticks. I mean, against dummies, of course. But it falls off rapidly when we're not hitting with when hammers are not in the area. Hey, what up, Valakura? Okay, so now let's go back to the way I had it set up before. We tried crit. We've proven that crit is viable. Let's go back to the other way I had it set up before. Because when I release a build guide for this, I'll probably include the what we've done here. Like, hey, I tried it with crit. Here's some of the results. Well, not some, but here's the results. Okay, leave that there. We're gonna... I think we should I think we should keep devouring orb. Oops. Just because of that global mana regen, I could feel that the mana regen was missing. As well as the global void damage. Oh yeah, and then let's throw on what? Let's throw on singularity. Okay, so let's do a couple runs of this. And let's be, at least in my case, I'm going to be super fair. If you, Jason, if you want to be absolutely biased, by all means, take the stance of crit. You were making some excellent points. Oh, oops. Of course, we have to level everything back up, but I mean, once we're there, we'll know.
Stand down or die.
Okay, let's make sure we got that 1 point there. So 1 point, 1 point. That'll be set up. No, where's the time machine? Yeah, everything's looking pretty... Like, it's looking... 1.1's looking really nice. You want to see the Hype Week stuff? Well, at work, I put in a request for July 9th and July 10th off. We'll see if it gets approved. Should get approved. If so, I can do like I can do some like hardcore grinds those 2 days. And then I got to go back to work. It's just it's the summer, which, you know, for where I work, summer's not the most ideal time to take off. So I'm just going to try and do those 2 days. And go for it. Okay. I do see what Jason was talking about, though. Holy smokes. Citadel boots of the turtle. Okay, we might have just replaced our helmet, chat. +1 to anomaly. Wow, it's really trying to force me to go back to... Okay, we'd be losing out on vitality. We do not need the elemental resistance. We do not need the elemental resistance, so... We don't need the void resistance either, but I'd probably try and seal that. Okay, so we give up flat vitality. Well, and we got two chances here because they're both the same helmet. I don't have a job at the moment, so you can grind. Awesome. Well, I don't know. Maybe not awesome, depending on your life circumstances. But it doesn't sound like you're sweating it too much, so awesome. Okay. Yeah, but that'll give me 2 days to really like farm and figure out what kind of build I want to do. Like, the thing is, this build's probably not going to really stand the test of time in cycle 2. Because that new unique that's coming out, that scepter, could probably largely benefit this build more than, well, no, I mean, we could possibly use it. I left of my own will and they didn't want me to and keep begging me to. I left of my own will. They didn't want me to and they keep begging you to come back. Hey, right on. You're like, deuces. No, please come back. Give me that paycheck. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there comes a point when a job's not worth it. Even if they are going to give you a fat paycheck, the stress alone is just not worth it. Yeah, that. It's.
Stand down or die.
Okay. Let's go back to the arena and test this against some dummies. Because this does feel like this does a little bit more damage than the crit. But I do see what Jason was pointing out. I was trying to pay more attention to it. The sustain is not as strong. You're not leeching for much early on until all the dots start taking off, and then it just fills up. But whereas with the crit, you can get a few big hits right off the bat. And really pump it up. Okay. Yeah, the dots are much stronger. I think I saw a 200k tick. I think the application of the build might just come down to skill. Hey, what up, Tilron? Well, things have been alright, man. It might just come down to skill, because if you take one too many hits right off the bat, who cares how many dots? Yeah, so YouTube chat was recommending, hey, how about you try mixing in some crits? And I'm like, sure, let's try. So we went and we tried crits with the dots, because here's the thing. Damage over time in this game cannot critically strike, but we still have some abilities that can. So we mixed it in, but since we're all set up for dots, the damage wasn't like astronomically high, but it still had more upfront damage, like in your face, and then it sort of just leveled out. Whereas with the damage over time build we're playing right now, the damage is kind of low at first, but then all those damage over time nodes start to pick up real quick, and then the damage shoots up much higher. So Jason over on YouTube pointed out that if you take one too many hits like right off the bat with this build, you're not giving your dots enough time to ramp up. And I'm thinking it could come down to just skill entirely. Because if you're not giving your hammers enough time to apply those dots and you just get killed real quick, you're not going to be leeching back that much health. So the sustain definitely felt stronger with crits, but the damage feels better with just straight dots over time, if that makes sense. And so that could just come down to preference. I mean, either way, with both setups, enemies were melting. Yeah, if you take one too many stuns right when you're about to start applying damage, that's it.
Stand down or die.
Okay, let's fight the boss. Because that's kind of why we're here. We're here trying to get a better blessing.
My shadow will cover this world once more.
Valakura, thank you for the follow on Twitch.
My vengeance will be paid in ash. This hates, this despair, oblivion burns within me. This world earth is doomed. Do you deny it?
Good morning, Vietnam!
Nice.
Will cover this world once more. Pathetic. My vengeance will be
Yeah, he was a good guy.
this hates, this despair, oblivion burns within me. This world earth is doomed. Do you deny it?
Override, thank you for the follow on Twitch.
My shadow will cover this world once more. Pathetic. My vengeance will be paid in ash. This hates, this despair, oblivion burns. This world earth changes and you deny it. This world is already dead.
I will have the Twitch drops. Yes, sir. Twitch drops will be active on this channel, and I put in a request to have the 9th and 10th off. I work full time, but I'm trying to get those 2 days off. So, and I believe they're only doing 2 Twitch drops, and they're just alternating. So you get the first one, then the second one, then the first one it comes back again. Second one comes back. I'm just gonna try and swing for those 2 days, try and get some grinding in, get ahead, and then go back to the normal schedule of 6 to 9 p.m. Pacific. Yes, Twitch drops will be active on the channel. Let me reference something. Or actually, let's... Okay, I see what he did here. Okay. All right. Oh, Override, thank you so much for subscribing with Prime. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, and I will be cycle starting as a Void Knight. That was a decision I already kind of made a little while ago since I cycle started as Paladin. And then just with all the teasers, I'm like, oh yeah. Void Knight's going to be eating good. Void Knight's going to be eating good, man. Oh, even if I'm the wrong coast. Dude, YouTube chat might be right on this one.
Stand down or die.
Oh. That Jason guy knows his stuff. Nice. Nice. Yeah, Jason, that Jason guy, he might be right on this one. Because like we don't need like 100% crit chance. We just need that little extra in your face damage to get over like until the dots really take effect, because the damage is so low right off the bat. Then it ramps up real quick. Yeah. Okay. So let's now go back to the YouTube suggested crit version.
Hello,
Okay, so let's take 1 point out of this. Oh, yeah. Now we need to put it into here. We might as well get some extra damage while we're at it. Sure, let's take that one. Extra void damage. Why not? Okay. So we can now crit again. No. We just want to remove some points. So now this is giving us 60%. This is giving us 30. So we've lost 60% hit damage. But we're going to go for the full crit chance. Now the real question is, do we keep Devouring Orb? Honestly, we might just end up dropping Abyssal Echoes. Like, sure, it gives us a huge amount, like a 24% increase to damage over time. It blinds enemies and gives us a that. But Devouring Orbs giving us mana regen, which we need, plus the 10% global damage bonus. You know what? So, don't the hammers proc Abyssal though? They don't. I know it looks like it does because it's the same icon, but what this is Disintegrating Aura. It's a different kind of dot. It's the whole reason why I went down this rabbit hole to begin with. Was like, okay, let's try to make a build work with Disintegrating Aura, which is a type of void dot damage. It's confusing because it's literally the same icon, right? So it's like, oh, that's like Abyssal Echoes. No, it's Disintegrating Aura, which is something different. Because, okay, so in order to get to it, we give up 30% projectile speed. We give up 20% attack speed, take a 12 mana cost increase. But then if you take 6 points in rapid disintegration, you do more damage and you reduce some of that mana cost, but you still take an overall cost of 6 mana. We're at 8. We're able to reduce it by 4. When I took 1 point out of Ballista and put 1 point back into Catapult, our mana cost went way too high. So we're going to try this now. We're going to try, because I haven't tried Devouring Orb and Anomaly. I've only tried Anomaly. I've only tried Anomaly and Abyssal Echoes. I'm too used to Anomaly being on E. Okay, now let's go back to this timeline and start farming. All right, let's go. Oh, hey, what up, Fiction? How you doing, man? Okay, well, the damage wasn't too impressive, but that's because we haven't leveled anything up. Oh. Well, we're going to need one more point out of this. Wait, where are we going to put that last... Oh, we need to put that last point in immediacy. How you doing today, Fiction? Okay, no. We don't want to do that. We don't want to reduce corruption. Trying out some D&D. Oh, really? Oh, dark and darker. Oh, that's what you meant by D&D-er. Was that a robot chicken? I don't think so. Oh, come on. Just give me a moment to put a skill point in. I need this now. Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, no wonder it's not doing a ton of damage. They all got glancing blow. I was like, the damage feels kind of low. It felt better before. Now I get it. Harvest beckons. How's your Dark and Darker runs going, Fiction? How's the game feel in general? Yeah. 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 I saw we almost got killed, and then the sustain just went vook. Refilled our health bar so quick. Man, I really liked the singularity play, but I just don't think we have enough health leech. Not unless I can somehow get another like copy of Siphon of Anguish and like get one with 3% void health leech. Oh my gosh. Greetings and salutations. Hey, what up, Air Dragon? How's it going, man? Just got sucked into blasting D2. What's wrong with that?
Stand down or die.
Nothing besides my hands are literal fire at the moment. Gotta go grab my old man enhancers. Your hands are... Oh, okay. I get it. Been clicking and clacking just a little too much, huh? Advil swelling, getting old, trying to stop game. Which won't happen. Right. Okay. Devouring Orb needs to go away. It's not making up for the sheer amount of damage we get out of Abyssal Echoes. Now, we are going to lose the mana regen. Sucks, but... Yeah, no, it is. So unfortunately, this build, I think it's a good. I think the build as it stands could be a good budget version. I mean, he uses 3 set items, which are not super hard to come across. Sure, let's take the time rot. At 1 point.
Stand down or die.
Okay, let's fight good old Rye again. So I'm definitely feeling the lack of Devouring Orbs mana regen. But I think I can compensate for that.
My shadow will cover this world once more. Pathetic. This hate, this despair, oblivion burns within you. This world earned its ruin. Do you deny it? My shadow will cover this world once more. My vengeance will be paid in ash. This hate, this despair, oblivion burns within you. This world lays hidden by your feet, changes everything. This world is ultimately dead.
Okay, so one thing we could do is we could say forget the crit. Crit's there if it wants to be, but we focus on these two. Just to get more hit damage, and then if we crit, we crit. Yay. Okay, let's try that out. Let's try that out. Okay. That's a game mate worth getting if I'm breaking from D4. 100%. 100%. There's about to be a new cycle. In this game, instead of seasons, it's cycles. That's going to be coming out on July 9th. They're going to be adding a lot more content, revamping some of the in-game systems. Definitely worth checking out. Like, I just got done playing D4 season. Right. I just got done playing D4 season 4, which I thought was phenomenal as somebody who put the game down after season 1. And coming back to this game felt great. No. It's not a classless game. You have classes. You have 5 base classes, and each class has 3 masteries. Here, let me give you the spiel. All right, so I'm playing a Sentinel, right? Sentinel has 3 masteries. They can become Void Knights, Forge Guard, or Paladin. And you also have all these skills that you have access to, right? All these skills I can take. The only skills I couldn't have access to are these 5. I don't have access to these 5 skills. For reasons that, if you play the game, you'll figure out. But for right now, let me just tell you, as a Void Knight, I don't have access to these 5 skills. I could dip into these other trees and kind of create a bit of a hybrid, but at my core, I'm still a Void Knight. But I could specialize into 5 skills, right? And each skill has its own skill tree. And you can completely customize the skills to suit your build. Out of all these options here, I chose to, kind of focus on this side of the tree. Same with this skill. I chose to focus on this side of the tree. You can't take all the points. How do I know what to build? I've been playing the game a while, but the great thing about this game is it's pretty easy to respec. So what I always encourage everybody is, instead of, picking up the game and immediately looking for the first leveling guide, I'd say play the game and just kind of feel it out. It's worth noting that once you choose a mastery for a class, you're locked into that mastery. You can't respec that, but you choose a mastery pretty early on. It's not like PoA. Like Path of Exile? Yeah, it's not like Path of Exile. And so a lot of the items kind of, have a Diablo feel to it, right? Obviously, it's still last Epoch, but you have a bit of a Diablo feel. The crafting in this game, you can really just craft the snot out of these items. Still some RNG base, but you have a lot of control in how things work. You also have stashes with quick access to your tabs, right? And you can search it. I want to look up all the Odachis. All of a sudden, all the tabs that don't have Odachis disappeared. Right? And now they're highlighted. What a beautiful looking dagger. Oh, Blade of the Forgotten Knight. Hey, what up, Convict Aunch. Convict Conch? But, I'm looking for this weapon called an Odachi. It's now pulling up every tab. You can have up to 200 stash tabs. If stash tabs is your jam, you can have up to 200. You have to buy them with in-game currency, not real currency, not real world money currency. You gotta buy it with in-game currency. Oh, Silent Steiner, thank you so much for the follow. But you could really hoard. Like, I think I've purchased, what have I've purchased a little over 100 tabs. So I could still buy like 90 more if I wanted to, and you could completely customize it. Let's add a new category. Silent Steiner, thank you so much for subscribing with Prime over on Twitch. I appreciate it. So in honor of you, Silent Steiner, you know, you could create these categories. Yeah, 200 is the max as far as I'm aware of. You can create these categories and you can name them whatever you want. You can customize it. So I'm going to name this one Silent Steiner, right? And you know what? On my screen, your icon is green. We're going to make it green. You know, you're going for, you know, you're going for that Steiner. Let's go for these double daggers icon. Bam. I've now created a new category called Silent Steiner. I'm going to buy a stash tab just for you, right? I've now added a stash tab to the Silent Steiner category. I'm going to name it Sting This. I'm going to give that icon. I'm going to make it yellow. And bam, I have a new category. Yeah. And just like that. I think the best thing about the stashes, other than the fact you could have such a sheer amount of them, is the search. You know, like look up helmet. Since that's a pretty generic term, it's going to show me everything that has a helmet in it, right? Bam. And everything else is automatically sort of like darkened, if that makes sense. Like, let's remove that. All of a sudden, everything becomes lighter. But let's type helmet back in. Bam. Everything else kind of darkens, and it highlights everything that's a helmet. You can run with up to 4 players. You can also do solo. I'm playing solo account found, which means I've taken this challenge upon myself to be completely solo. I cannot trade with other players. I cannot group up and play with other players. I am completely solo. That's just a challenge I've taken on for myself. But you can just make a regular character and you can invite your friends. You can play with your friends. Like I said, up to 4 players. You have 2 different factions that you can use for finding loot. After you beat the campaign, or when you're close to beating the campaign, you can choose a faction. Oh yeah, I haven't shown the loot filter yet. Are there tiers in the game like hell level? No, there isn't. There isn't tiers in the game. Well, right, Convict, but he hasn't purchased the game yet. I mean, you don't. I mean, I guess on Steam with Steam Protection, you could buy the game for $35 and then be like, I don't like it, and refund. How do things get harder without tiers? Right. That's a great question. So in this game, there's 2 activities in particular that have endless difficulty. You can just keep pushing the difficulty to your heart's content or until your build can't take it anymore. There's the Monoliths system, which I'm in right now. This number up here called Corruption, I've pushed it to 302 on this build with this character. And as you can see, directly correlating to that number, enemies have 283 health, 283% more health and damage. There's another build that I played that was really strong that I pushed to 1200 corruption. There's people who have pushed to 4,000 corruption. Now, that's a really long grind. I understand that, but you can eventually get to the point where the difficulty meets your build by putting in the time and effort on the build. But I can understand some people don't want to do that. They'd rather just get the instant difficulty increase. There are in this game 3 dungeons. And you need these keys to open the dungeon. All right, so let's go ahead and take this key right here. And I'm going to use it, and I'm going to go to this dungeon called the Temporal Sanctum. Here, the difficulty is not endless in the dungeons. You go to the dungeon, you take your keys. There's generally a reward at the end of each dungeon, and depending on what dungeon you're doing will determine what kind of reward or activity you're trying to get to. But when you go up to the dungeon, you got to put your key in, and then it's going to ask you what tier of difficulty you're going to do it. Tier 1 for this dungeon, all the enemies are level 55. Tier 2 of this dungeon, all the enemies are level 80, and then they also gain 20% increased damage and 20% increased health. Tier 3, I think you get the gist. This would be the closest thing to tiers, would be the dungeon system. You also have another system in the game called the arena. Let me show that off to you. No, you don't have to pay real money to get the keys. You got to find the keys in game. You don't have to pay real money to get keys. I guess it's not a Blizzard game. Right. Okay, so let's see. I do have one arena key on me. So here we got something called the Endless Arena. It's not exactly endless. Well, yes it is, but no it's not. I'll show you. So you click Enter Arena. And it's going to give you several options. I haven't unlocked these options right here, but I can tell you what they are. So you got Tier 1, which is all the enemies are level 50, and you got to fight through 40 waves of monsters, and ultimately you fight an arena champion. Then you got Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, just like the dungeons. But then you also got something else called Endless Arena. All the enemies are automatically level 100. And you fight against an endless, like it is truly endless. You just survive as long as you can. Depending on how many waves you've survived will determine if you get a spot on the leaderboard. Because there is a leaderboard for how many waves you have survived. So for me, since I'm playing solo account found, I actually get to compete on the solo account found leaderboard. But they do have a 1-player, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player. But since I've taken the solo account found challenge, I compete on the solo account found leaderboard against everybody else who's found their own items. They haven't traded for it. They haven't joined the Merchants Guild, that sort of thing. So on the solo account leaderboard, here's where, this guy survived to wave 2051. That's absolutely ridiculous. As you can see, this guy's in his own special class. There's only 4 people on the Sentinel class who've survived past 1,000 waves. I have competed on this leaderboard, and I made it to wave 403. Now, I think if I came back, I could maybe push this and maybe get to Tier 7, like number 7. I don't think I would get up this high because honestly, this can take a while to survive this many waves. It can take a while. I just don't necessarily have the time for it, but you get the idea. You want it, like there is an activity that you can take part in where the difficulty, because it gets harder. It gets harder. It's not just static waves and you survive as long as possible against static waves. Every wave, the enemies get harder. That's why this is kind of insane what this guy did with 2,565 waves. I don't know what he had to do to get there, but holy frick, since the difficulty is endless, the enemies must have been hitting for God knows how much damage. And I mean, obviously, there's still a lot more to this game. Like I said, I'm playing Sentinel, which is one class. Hours and hours of arena. Exactly, Valakira over on YouTube. So obviously, I'm playing Sentinel, which is one class, but you also have the Primalists. They can become shamans, druids, beastmasters. That sort of very nature-y type thing. You have the mage, which can become a rune master, a sorcerer, or a spellblade, which is like a melee spell slinging warrior, right? You can become an acolyte, which can master into the necromancer class, the lich class, or the warlock class. So there's 3 right there that you can get into. And then there's the rogue. Yeah, it's the rogue, right? Yeah. The rogue, they can master into blade dancer, marksman, falconer. Yeah. I primarily play a ton of Sentinel. That's what I mostly do here. What is Merchant's Guild? Okay. So let me jump out of this real quick. So there's 2 factions in the game. I'm in the Circle of Fortune faction, which is they get these things called prophecies. I can go for prophecies, and I still have to pretty much find my own loot, but it gives me better chances of finding good loot, right? But I can't trade with anybody. I mean, if you're playing normal in the Circle of Fortune, you can trade with people, but you have to be playing with them. And then there's another mechanic, but I'm not going to get into it. Largely, Circle of Fortune is kind of seen as, oh, you're playing solo and you don't really want to trade with other people. Join the Circle of Fortune. The Merchant's Guild, or the Merchant faction, is actually, let me show you. Let me show you. I can't really do anything with it since I'm in the Circle of Fortune faction. So I can go to the Merchants Guild faction, the Bazaar. I can't do anything because I'm in the Circle of Fortune, right? But let me show you. So Merchants Guild is, I've joined the Merchants Guild. So items I find, I can trade to other players. Or I can put them on the Bazaar, which is like an auction house. And you can just go to these different vendors. I can't do anything with them because I'm not in the Merchants Guild. So I can't like click on this guy and show you all the idols that are for sale. Or you got to go over here. I can't show you all the gloves or helmets or boots. But you can... So unlike Diablo where you can trade, but you gotta have to find people on your own or use a website to find what you're looking for, you can do all that in game with the Bazaar. You can be like, hey, I got these axes, I think they're pretty cool, let me go put them on the Bazaar / auction house. Important note, there's no reselling. That's right. If you're somebody who's into flipping an item, like, oh, that's a great deal on an item, let me buy that and then put it back on the market at a higher price, or buy all of those, you can't do that. Once it's been purchased from the Bazaar, and thank you, Valakura, because I'm somebody who doesn't interact with Merchants Guild, you can't resell it. So there's that. Which I think is good, because if somebody's amassed a ton of gold and they just go and buy every item and then put it all back at a higher price, that'd be kind of messed up. No. So since I'm playing solo account found, I can't trade with other players anyway. So I can't join the Merchants Guild as a solo account found player. I can't trade with anybody. And there's only 2 factions in the game right now. They said they're going to be adding more factions later on down the line, but for right now, The only faction I can choose as a solo account found player is the Circle of Fortune. They don't give me any in-game damage bonuses. They give me chances to find better loot. You know, chance for double rewards. Uniques are twice as likely to have legendary potential. You're twice as likely to get T7 affixes. You have a chance to blah blah blah. You can find a full set. You can, you know, items from prophecies are duplicated, that sort of thing. Right. The new faction that's coming out in the patch in a couple weeks. Yeah, that's a faction everybody can join. Okay, so let's jump back in. Okay, let me go back to town here. Well, not town, but is there a max level in this game or a Paragon system? There's a max level, level 100. There's no Paragon system. Okay, so Air Dragon pointed it out, but have you ever played Diablo and just found all this loot and you pick it all up and then you're like, there's nothing I was looking for, so you go and sell it? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. But this game does have a loot filter. So you can type in and you can program it the way you want to only show you stuff that you're looking for. So to show you, I'm going to disable my loot filter. So look at all these items that are actually on the ground. All these blues, all these rares. You know, all this stuff. But since I'm not looking for any of that, it doesn't show me. Blizzard's been working on the loot filter since D3. Last Epoch, in my opinion, has the best loot filter in the industry. I wish Diablo would rip it off. So I have it set up right now that it's only going to show me exactly what I'm looking for. Wait until PoE 2 comes out? Yeah, they might, you know, take inspiration from this for sure. So one thing you can do is you can also share your loot filter with other people by clicking on export loot filter, and you can copy it to your clipboard and upload it to a website like Pastebin. So somebody can download your loot filter, upload it into the game, and then they'll have the exact same settings. There's some build creators out there that do that. They'll create a build and then they'll include a loot filter. Personally, I'm always of the opinion that you should be comfortable enough to create your own loot filter with a Trojan. Right. I'm of the opinion that you should be like, you should learn the loot filter and then program it to look for what you're, because I've used other people's loot filters and you get one or two things, or maybe three. Either it's absolutely perfect and it's everything you have ever wanted. I've never had that happen. Two, it's so broad that you spend so much time going through the loot filter trying to disable what you don't want. Right? You're like, oh no, I don't need that because I already got plenty of that. Well, the author, the person who made the loot filter didn't know that, right? So they're assuming you don't have it. So they're plugging that into the loot filter. Like, you're going to need this, you're going to need that, you're going to need, when in fact you actually have half that stuff, and now you're going through the loot filter trying to customize it even more to yourself, where I feel like you could kind of just do that on your own. And that's why I don't include loot filters. I did for one build because I had so many questions about it. Or in the final option is they make a loot filter that's so strict it's like you don't have a loot filter. You're like you're like, wait, do I actually need that? And you're stopping and you're hitting X on your keyboard to be like, yo, is that something I actually need? And the person who made the loot filter forgot to put it in there, so. If I include a loot filter, it is extremely strict. Because I'm assuming you already got half that stuff. Because it's the more basic stuff.
Stand down or die.
So Endgame's kind of a So Endgame right now is cool to some people, mad to others, and other people don't really like it at all. Endgame is simply getting your character super geared up, and then you go into either Monoliths or Arena, and you push the difficulty as far as you can. Which some people find very enjoyable, other people are like, it's whatever, or people hate it. In this next patch that they're going to be releasing on July 9th, they're going to be adding some more. They're going to be fleshing out. Actually. So in the new cycle, aka season, they're going to be releasing a pinnacle boss, which would be like an Uber boss, right? And then they're going to be fleshing out the Monolith system, which is what I'm playing in right now, a little bit more. They're going to be adding a new system called Nemesis, which is kind of like you fight this enemy and you can kind of power him up or make him weaker, and he can give you better loot. I'll have to play it to actually see how it works out. It sounds intriguing. And then they're going to be adding a new faction to Monoliths that everybody can join, which will flesh out the Monolith system even more. And the most important addition to the game is the crab. They're going to be adding a crab to the game. As for an expansion or like paid DLC or anything like that, I don't know what they got planned. So, Silent Stinger, you know the dodge mechanic from Diablo? So, Last Epoch's going to be adding the dodge mechanic to, they're going to be adding the dodge mechanic to Last Epoch, but they're not calling it dodge, they're calling it evade. And they're going to have new items out there that can kind of change what it does or make it better. And one of those items, as Valakura over on YouTube has pointed out, is instead of being able to dodge, you summon a crab when you press the button. That was one of the teasers they put out there. Because we don't have the patch notes yet. We don't know what's getting changed. They put out a teaser where they showed off a few of the items. Yeah, you just want the crab. Valakura is over here on Twitch now. And so when you have this item equipped, instead of dodging, you summon a crab, which I think is just a really, imaginative way to use the ability. I will say, if like, Diablo did good with the dodge mechanic. It feels really good. Like, Path of Exile 2 is going to be adding the dodge mechanic, the evade. Grim Dawn already added it. When I played Grim Dawn for the first time, it was in the game, but apparently when I had played Grim Dawn, they had just added it. I played it at the end of last year. They had just added that was nice. Last Epoch's going to be adding it, so I hope. And Diablo's kind of borrowed a few. Yeah, and Grim Dawn's still going, and they're getting a new expansion here pretty soon. Like, imagine that. And Diablo's kind of borrowed a little bit from Last Epoch, right? The tempering system in Diablo that I mean, it's not exactly lifted, but it in Diablo 4 it feels kind of like the crafting system from Last Epoch, except Last Epoch isn't as RNG based. You have a lot more control over the crafting, right? And the greater affixes in Diablo 4, Last Epoch had a system already in place, except they called them exalted affixes. So in this case, that's what you see right here. The purple affix is an exalted affix, so you can only find that. You can't craft it. Everything else on this item was either already there or I crafted on it. Right. Okay. Okay, for 3 LP, I'll take a chance. GW2, is that Guild Wars? Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. Hold on, Jack. I'll get you the playlist. Sorry, I missed it until Silent Sinner's like, here's the playlist, and he used my emote. I was like, wait, what? Yeah. Let me get the playlist for you. It's on Spotify. That's the playlist on Spotify. I believe they have the music on YouTube Music as well. So this music is copyright free. All I did is I went to their website and I put my name in their whitelist so I don't get copyright notifications on YouTube. And so I play this music. What is your specialty dish you cook? I don't know if I have a specialty dish. I work at a child development center for the U.S. military. So a lot of the dishes I cook are kind of more basic, simpler, because kids, they can't handle a lot of like in-your-face flavor. If I'm cooking for myself, if I'm like, here's the thing. Since I cook all day and I get home, I'll make a sandwich. I like a good steak. Mashed potatoes. I'm pretty simple when it comes to that. At work, I'd say our most popular stuff that we make has got to be like noodles, man. kids love spaghetti, bro. Oh, no, they get salad. The salad's simpler. We don't like put in a lot of stuff. And then on top of it, the kids, it's green, so kids are instantly suspect. They're like, why is it green? And they like chicken tenders. Yeah, they do. We don't serve chicken tenders at the job I work. You know, it's not on the approved list, but nonetheless, kids do like chicken tenders. Well, actually, we kind of do. We have something called crispy chicken, which is basically I take these chicken thighs and I chop them down. I dice them down into little chunks, and then I dredge them. I put them in like breadcrumbs. Well, I put them in like oil and then breadcrumbs and seasonings and stuff like that. And I cook them in the oven. No deep frying, right? No deep frying allowed. And the chicken thighs have a good amount of fat content. As they're cooking down, that fat will soak into the breadcrumbs and help season the breadcrumbs and make them moist. And the breadcrumbs will retain that. And so it's a leaner chicken tender, and while still being like whole meat chicken. It's not processed, other than me chopping it up. That's the only processing there is. You're hungry now? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, chicken thighs are the best. Do I drink Coke or coffee there? I drink coffee. Coffee and water. I like my coffee black. When I get home, I'll have one Coke Zero, and then that's it. I'll drink water for the rest of the day. I like to have a Coke Zero with my dinner. My wife has dinner ready when I get home, which I really appreciate because I don't have to cook it. I mean, there's some days where I cook dinner just because she's got other stuff going on. I'll be like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, she cooks pasta. I'm really easy to cook for, though. You put it in front of me, I'll eat it. Thanks for the playlist. Keep it up. Big time watching when the next cycle comes. Yeah. So, Jack, I put in a leave request at work for the day the patch comes out and the next day, but then I have to get back to work. We're just too busy. I'm going to try and take 2 days. We'll have some long streams that day. Try and grind it out. Get to a good spot in those 2 days, and then I got to get back to the grind at work. Assuming my leave gets approved, which I don't think they'll have a problem with that. You take some time off and once Human comes out, or Throne and Liberty. Oh, those sound. What class build you got going on cycle start? So, chicken thighs are the best, but beef. Yeah, I got you. Okay, so what class build am I going with? So build, I'm not exactly sure. It's going to depend on the items that I get early on. Class, I'm playing Void Knight. There was a dude in the LE Discord absolutely raging about the Tuesday release. Hey, Tuesday is the best day for gaming releases, whether he wants to admit it or not. Sorry to hear that he has a problem with it. Yeah, so JD, I'm going to be playing Void Knight. I had already decided I was going to be playing Void Knight, and then all the teasers that they've been releasing for the game have only solidified that. I'm like, oh, dude, Void Knight's going to be eating good. So I have a couple different builds on my YouTube channel that I've made for Void Knight this cycle. We did unfair advantage to the unemployed. Oh my gosh. Because of the race. Sucks to be him, I guess. What could I say? So one build that I really liked on Void Knight that I did back in beta was Void Cleaver Racing Strike. So I could always fall back on that. I did a Rive Healing Hands build this cycle, which I think Healing Hands is going to get changed. I don't know to what degree, but I'm pretty sure it's going to get changed, but that one could be in my back pocket. I did a Warpath Void Cleave. I called it Spin to Cleave build this cycle on Void Knight. That one was really fun. I think it's going to be even better in the next cycle. So I think that'll be a fun one to play. Disintegrating Aura hammers that I'm doing right now, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but the problem is you're going to really need these throwing damage and minus mana costs, minus throw and attack mana cost affixes, which I don't know to what degree I can rely on getting these on top of the smite idols. So this might be something I try out in the later end game. I'll probably end up doing some sort of Void Cleave build. But I'm just trying to come up with these or take inspiration from other creators on Void Knight. Just have a few different builds because that's going to be the class I'm going to be playing on launch. And then I know for sure I'm going to be playing a sorcerer at some point in cycle 2 because it's something that's way outside my wheelhouse. I want to play something that's completely different from what I've been currently playing. Yeah, but cycle started on Void Knight. Hopefully it goes well. I cycle started as Paladin this cycle, which I'm really glad I did because Paladin is a very nice, smooth start. So it's going to be interesting playing Void Knight having no shards to craft with, but I think we'll still make it work. Paladin gets Holy Aura, which is just such an amazing... It's got to be it's got to be top 10 for skills in the game. Paladin sounds like a support class. They can be. They were also one of the most powerful classes this cycle. Because they added Healing Hands as a skill. And Healing Hands was way, way overtuned. The stuff people were doing with Healing Hands was absolutely insane in the membrane, man. On face value, you hear Healing Hands and Paladin, you think, oh yeah, that's a support class. Bruh. What is easy, like Garen and LOL or Barbarian? So, okay, based off that definition that you just gave me, I'm gonna recommend Sentinel. Silent Stainer. If you do pick up the game, I don't know if I've sold you on it, but if you pick up the game, Sentinel's gonna have a good mix of, if you want to play a class with some, if you want to play with some more complexity, you can make it happen with Sentinel. But if you just want to play Unga Bunga, you can also just play Sentinel. If you like spin to win, Sentinel has an ability called Warpath. Basically Whirlwind. So you can literally just do this on Sentinel, man. You can just hold down the button and spin to win, baby. You can literally travel all that. This was actually my most recent build guide I put out on YouTube. I called it Spin to Cleave because I combined it with another skill called Void Cleave. So the idea is you just keep spinning for eternity, and every once in a while you stop spinning and you dash out in front and do this big like Yasuo style void cleave, like psh. They care. So yeah. So if you like Unga Bunga, you can definitely pull it off with Sentinel. Yeah, or you could play Healing Hands, get 65,000 ward, and never die. I need an emoji for Unga Bunga. I could probably make it happen. Closest thing I got is the petting the cat. That's my brother's cat, by the way. I took a picture of the cat and I photoshopped him into an emote. Yeah, so there's one called Pets. And the cat's getting petted. Healing Hands ward probably getting nerfed. If it doesn't get nerfed, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. If Healing Hands ward generation does not get nerfed, because that's all everybody's going to be playing on Sentinel after a while. I played Paladin and lost it. Yeah, there you go. There you go, Override. That's the closest to Unga Bunga I have. So you played Paladin in Lost Ark, got boring real quick, and like 200 hours in. So even after being bored pretty quick, you still put in 200 hours on Lost Ark. Or you can do Sparky the Waffle Dog. Oh, I got it. So you're like, well, I already got a sunk cost investment. Let me carry on, get what I paid for out of it, and then put it down. Yeah, I got you. I think I bought a Founders Pack on there too, and I played it for a little while, and it didn't stick. And then gear gating amongst players. Sleepy time. Catch you later, Air Dragon. Thanks for being here, man. So when D4 came out, I played Mage until Season 2. Now I switched to Bar, but it's much easier. Yeah. Barbarian's a lot of fun in Diablo 4. The Crusader?
My shadow will cover this world once more. Pathetic. My vengeance will be paid in ash. This hate, this despair, oblivion burns within me. This world earned its ruin. Do you deny it? My shadow will cover this world once more. Pathetic. This hate, this despair, oblivion burns within me. This world earned its ruin. Do you deny it?
Yeah, lifesteal's in the game.
This world once more.
Yeah, he's not following the line. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fly there. Oh, psych.
My vengeance will be paid in ash. Do you think my feat changes anything? This world is all
Ooh, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, lifesteal is in the game. They call it Leech. So in this case, I'm playing a Void Knight. Let me pull up the Void Knight skill tree. Void Knight has a node on their skill tree. You can leech 6% of the void damage you deal as health. It depends on what it says. So if we look over here, I leech 6% of the melee damage I do and 6% of the void damage I do. So for a total of 12%, if I'm doing melee and void damage, I'm only doing void damage. I'm not doing melee damage, so I'm only leeching 6%. Mages, they can get spell leech, but there's a mechanic in the game called ward, which is like an overshield, kind of like a barrier or something like that from Diablo, or overshield from Halo, and you create this ward around you that absorbs the damage before it starts hitting your health. Here, I can demonstrate it to you. Hold on, I got a paladin. Who has ward? All right, so here's the paladin. Let's boot him up. Paladin crew united, yeah. All right, so Paladin with a spoon. Yeah. He's using the Mad Alchemist ladle. So in this timeline, we're at 1,156 corruption. Let's go ahead and do an echo. So, do you see this bar over my health? That's the ward I'm generating. This guy's generating a frick ton of ward. Alright. So, ward generally has a mechanic where it decays if you've over-generated past your ward decay, like past your ward threshold. But this guy, I don't really have to worry about it because he just generates so much of it. And I just go around. This one is the Divine Bolt Paladin build that became really popular this cycle. I've been calling it Holy Shotgun because easy ward, easy life. Yeah, that's right. So I've been calling this one the Holy Shotgun, even though it's Divine Bolt. And this is very high corruption. So enemies have 1,262% more health and damage. And I'm just able to sit here and face tank any damage they throw at me. What's Paladin's ultimate? There's no real ultimate skill in the game. Build planner for your... Yeah. Divine Bolt Paladin on YouTube. If you put in exclamation point YouTube... Oh, wait. No. You already know where it is override. Never mind.
Stand down or die.
Yeah, so on this one, we're using a lot of uniques that I've converted into legendaries. So we're using like a rather obscure unique, Dark Shroud of Cinders. We got a nice Immolator's Ablation, Soulfire. Like, this is some really high-end gear in the game. I know, right? Max, well, 1% off from Max Caspi T7. Max Tier 5 Fire Penetration. Nearly max T7 healing effectiveness. Nearly max T6 healing effectiveness. This one sucks. Max T7 attunement. The boots or whatever. We got a good slam on the Hand of Judgment. Got a good slam on the Soulfire. You want to see my cast speed? It's 156%. I don't think it's taken into account the 16% fire spell cast speed chance from Dark Shroud of Cinders. So I can get that cast speed up even more. If I can get cast speed on Scales of Eterra. Perry's been out to get the belt nerf. Yeah, he didn't understand the belt at first. Once he understood the belt, he's been wanting to get it nerfed. Here's the funny thing, though. The belt's already been nerfed. 86%, 86%, 88%, and then Throne of Ambition. 17, 16, 13, that's a low one. 17, I think these go up to 17, yeah. These go up to 95%. I got close. I do have a couple 90s, but they don't have the chance to shred armor with fire skills. Yeah, so here's the thing, like, the belt has been nerfed. You guys remember the Curse BG? He used this belt a lot on some of his Lich builds, like a year or two ago. And originally, the spell damage for fire and necrotic skills per stack of Ignite on you up to 40 didn't have the up to 40. It was uncapped. He would stack this thing. He would have like 100 stacks of Ignite on him with his Lich build and be gaining so much damage. And EHG, the creators of Last Epoch, saw what he was doing had nerfed the belt. Now that Perry's found out about the belt, he wants to get it nerfed even more. Yeah. So glad I can show that off for you guys. All right, guys, thank you for coming out tonight. I'm going to be shutting down for tonight. I will be back again tomorrow, 6 to 9 p.m. Pacific. We are ending, 2 minutes early. That's whatever. We're going to raid the Curse, the guy I was just talking about. He will be coming back to Last Epoch, but right now he is streaming Dota. He'll be back on July 9th. So if you guys got questions about Warlock, Lich, this is your dude. You got any of those questions, this is your dude. I'm glad you guys are here. Great stream. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the subs. Thank you very much. And thank you for 500 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much. We just got accepted into the YouTube partner program, so you can become a member on YouTube. Let me shout that out real quick. Louis Stripes, thank you for following on Twitch. Anyway, guys, I'm Babbling Bike. I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back again tomorrow with more Void Knight action. We're going to go raid the Curse. You guys say hi. Ask him about Immolator's Ablation, the belt I just showed you. See you, man. Yeah, catch you later, bro. Thank you for the follow. Peace. YouTube, thanks for rocking with me today, guys. Thank you so much for the likes. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Anyway, you guys take care. Peace out, Boy Scouts.